Hey, Joe. After the four-game losing streak and the slow start in that first half against Denver, what did it take? What did you guys start doing in that second half that really clicked and got you back to playing the style that you know you can play?
I think it was something simple as just playing harder. We just had a lot more effort. I think luck and good balances started coming our way just because of the effort that we played with in the second half. It seemed like it was the opposite in the first, and I think a lot of that had to do just because, not because, guys might not have been focused this or that. It was literally just straight up, I think, just effort. The amount of 50-50 balls they got in the first half versus the second was pretty indicative of that.
Coaches talked about going through adversity and kind of the valleys of a season being a good thing, especially as you guys get ready for the postseason. In what ways do you see going through that adversity, especially given the way that you guys were able to come back against Denver? In what ways are that adversity a good thing?
I think just the experience of it, just being in a situation where, tensions might be a little high because everybody is, clamoring to try and get a win. So it's sort of the same sort of mentality that you're probably going to feel when you're in a playoff series. Obviously we're hoping to compete, win every single game, but the reality of the matter is that, we're not going to sweep every team that we play against. So, being able to withstand a couple of losses or when things aren't going your way, I think both, short term and long term. I think sometimes we have a tendency in the moments in games where we overreact to certain situations too. And so just being able to keep your composure, stay locked in, and not letting a momentum swing or a loss affect you so much that it compounds afterwards.
Greg Logan with Newsday.
Joe, I have two questions. First of all, you guys held Denver to 15 points in the fourth quarter. The Nets have shown that defensive ability at times, but they don't do it consistently. Is there an on-off switch that gets flipped at times? And then second of all, you have to finish with 2 back-to-back sets. How tough is that?
Well, I think first, we've definitely shown the ability to defend in spurts, but like you said, it's just a matter of being consistent with it, putting it together for a full 48. Obviously, that's what we're working towards, but I think a lot of the stuff defensively kind of goes back to what I was saying to Grady's question. It's just a matter of having continuous effort. I think you're able to overcompensate for mistakes on the defensive end when guys are just playing hard and recovering for one another. And then the second part is, the schedule has been tough this entire season. So, for us to kind of finish the way that we are, it's just sort of the way that it has been. I think we obviously have the luxury where, we are going to have a little bit of time from the last game until the first playoff game.
Malika Andrews, ESPN.
Joe, I'm wondering if, you've been on this team that has made the playoffs several years in a row, but does, coming from that position in the last maybe 2 years of being a lower seed, maybe being the hunter instead of the hunted, does that affect or what is different about your guys' playoff preparation as a whole as you're seeing it now with just a couple of games left?
I don't think it affects the preparation, but I do think it probably affects just maybe overall mindset. It's not that it's easier when you're a lower seed, but you definitely have less to lose, when you're going into some of these games. But, overall, the preparation, I think, stays pretty similar. And, I know even here these last few games, these are, we just don't have a lot of practice time. Even situations like today, it was great for us just to be able to get on the court with one another, actually go through some film and work on some different stuff because we haven't been able to do this hardly at all this season. So, to hopefully, use that as a stepping stone for the preparation going to the playoffs is huge. And then obviously, you try and focus and finish these last 4 games out the right way. Then, you start preparing for whoever you're going to be playing against come playoff time.
Thank you.
Christian Winfield with the New York Daily News.
Hey, Joe. Everyone on the team has basically said some variation of James Harden makes my life easier. I'm curious as to how specifically he makes your life easier when he's out there on the floor.
I mean, James is just, he's one of those guys where he's got a unique ability just to kind of manipulate the game. And in a way offensively where he might come down the floor and he's thinking in the back of his mind, all right, Blake hasn't gotten a touch or Joe hasn't gotten a shot. And he just does a good job putting guys in position where, he wants to get them going. And it is the same for me, but it's the same for Kai, Kevin, everybody. I think everybody would probably echo the same sentiment where, James just has a very unique ability where he can do that in a way where it's in the rhythm of the game too. And, there's very few players that have that ability.
Ryan Dunleavy with the New York Post.
Hey, Joe, what is the most important thing you guys need to do here in this last week? Like, what's the most important thing you need to see? And then secondarily, we've known you're going to be a top 3 seed in the playoffs for a long time. Does it matter to you guys if you're the 2 or the 3 for, home court advantage in that second round or opponent in the first round? Does the 2 or the 3 matter to you guys?
I think the first part, I don't know necessarily if there would be one specific thing to pinpoint on what's the most important. I think it's just, for us to be feeling good about how we're playing collectively. I think we felt good about where we were at in the second half of that game against Denver. So just building on that in these last few games. And then in terms of seeding, I don't think guys are there's not really anything like a topic or a discussion that's had. We're really just kind of focused on finishing these last 4 games out the right way, and then seeding sort of take care of itself.
Tom Dowd with BrooklynNets.com.
Hey, Joe, just following up on what Christian asked a little bit. I mean, there's a big difference in the number of three-point attempts you're getting when James is active and when he's not. Are you aware of those hard numbers or just as a feel? I mean, do you know that?
I'm not aware of that. I think just for me, as a shooter, especially on this team, it goes in waves where, there might be some games where I get 10 threes and there might be some other games where you get a lot less. And that's just kind of how it goes. I've always just kind of, played in the sense of a feel of the game. It's not like I'm coming in and, the primary offensive option, I play off of these guys a lot. And so, whenever, teams adjust, whatever it might be, I think here lately, I guess our last game in particular against Denver, it seemed like, they just did a good job, really, loading up against Kevin and Kai and then taking away a lot of my 3-point opportunities, but it allowed a lot of open looks for other guys. Blake was able to get going, especially there to start the second half. And it's really just about feeling out the game. But like we said earlier, though, too, James is unique in the sense where, he'll come down and he can facilitate offense, obviously himself, but he can kind of put guys into different positions where, he might take Blake aside or Kevin aside and talk about, doubling away for somebody or he wants to get a post action for somebody. He just has a feel of getting guys going over the course of the game. Really just, sort of a point guard sort of mindset where he's really kind of an acting like second coach on the floor.